Welcome everyone to Buying Local. I'm your host, Mike Nelson from Five Towers Media. Joined today by Brandon. And Brandon, I probably say this every show, but so if I mess up your last name, I apologize ahead of time. But Dewyea,
Dewyea. Hey, there you go.
I got it.
Well
All right.
done.
I'm
You
like
got
two
it.
for two here on episodes. Last week's I got it correct too. Here with Brandon Dewyea. Brandon, I feel like a lot of people know who you are, but just for the couple that maybe don't, why don't you go ahead and introduce who you are, what you do, your business, all the things.
Okay. Well, thank you first of all for having me. It's lovely to connect with you.
Yeah.
And yes, my name is Brandon Dewyea. I'm owner of Moxie. I've been in business for 12 years. I'm mainly a stylist, so I support people with their apparel, feeling more confident and connected with their clothing. And then this last year, I added on. I was officially I added on in terms of organization, decluttering, staging, kind of all the things that just go with our environment. I think there's a huge component to just really how we feel in our space, how we show up. And to me, it's a skill that we don't tend to be taught. What feels really good on our bodies, what goes well together, and also in our environment, what brings us joy. Do we have a place for everything? Are we kind of living among chaos and clutter? And I think that there's that to me has an impact on our well being and confidence and et cetera, right? And
Yeah.
so some of my background is before I moved to the area, I'm originally from Vermont, proud Vermonter. And when I moved to the area, I left the industry of health a little bit, of wellness. I was a personal trainer for 14 years, very successful, loved it. But when I moved here, I wasn't really willing to start all over again. And one thing that Saratoga had in common at the time with Burlington, Vermont, is a lot of trainers and a lot of salons. And I just felt like I'm ready to go a different direction. So the career launched, if you will, but I've always, of course, had a connection to the wellness environment. That's always been really important to me. And anyway, this last year, I reside actually up in the Queensbury Glens Falls area. I've always worked out of Saratoga and cater to the capital region and in person and virtual. And my sweetie was up here, and so 9 years ago, I joined him up here and to the Glens Falls area. And in the in between, I was moving my business from Saratoga up to Glens Falls and checking out spaces and stuff. So I just snagged something really quick in Saratoga. Turn a new leaf, Erin. She's amazing. And she introduced me to the vibroacoustic machine, the sound lounge machine, which is amazing by a company called In
Mhm.
Harmony. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And she was generous enough to put it out to all of us and say, hey, if you want to extend this to your clients, go for it. So I'm in 2 locations right now, waiting for my permanent home in Glens Falls. And yeah, today I'd love to spend a little time just spreading the word about the amazing vibroacoustic experience. It's cutting edge. And it's amazing, and it's the first up in the Glens Falls, Queensbury area, and it's amazing. It's great.
So help me understand that. So what is it? What does it do? It's I mean, obviously, vibrate, so it shakes.
Yeah, it shakes, right? Nothing sexual. Not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, essentially, in all seriousness, so it's FDA approved. It's considered a medical level 1 device, which of course is important. And Michael, I think one of the really great things about it is when, especially, and I think in our society now, from my opinion, we get so inundated on, hey, this is the latest and the best, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And I personally feel we're in a information overload. And sometimes we can kind of feel like, oh, that more is better. So one thing I personally really love about it is actually you don't have to do a darn thing. You literally just have to show up and lie down. So what it consists of is you're basically lying on kind of a glorified cozy massage table. You're fully clothed. You are covered in nice, cozy, warm blankets, weighted blanket if that's of comfort to you. And what it is you're essentially taking in through headphones, and the bed actually itself vibrates. And the connection of that, it's synchronized. So you have different types of tracks and different durations. And what it helps to do is a very long list. So they're finding wonderful experience with anxiety, sleep issues, PTSD, ADHD issues in children, regulating the nervous system essentially. So it's a way to really break your brain, have a rest. We all know sleep is extremely important, right? Rest is extremely important, yet are we all really good at it? Not so much, right? And yet it's literally the only time that your body can relax. It's the only time that your body can heal. So essentially, you're just laying back and taking it in. Some people completely conk out. Some people notice they're going in and out a little bit, kind of like when you get a massage and you're just relaxing, right? You're chilling out. But you literally don't have to do anything. And so you can do kind of an express, which is under 30 minutes, or you can go longer. You can do a 45 or a 90-minute. And what people notice that they feel is a sense of calm, a sense of rejuvenation, in. Most people, of course, I'm asking all the questions. Okay, tell me everything. How was it? And following up with them. And so most people really notice, like, yeah, I just felt more chill throughout the day. I felt more focused, kind of like when you have a good nap, right? You feel more rested. Lot to be said for the brain power, the rest, the mental agility. And then, so of course, the experience is something where there's a lot of different types of tracks. You can do things that are like more spiritual or more, water running, a little babbling brooks, or you can do something a little bit more cosmic. They have things that can be really energizing and inspirational. I personally kind of like the cosmic zone out. I don't want to be like charged or anything like that, but it's great. It's a big rest for your brain. And you might be familiar with the concept of regulating beats. If you've ever heard like in one
Yeah.
side of the ear and then you're doing something different in the other. So there's also that whole avenue as well. There's over 300 tracks, a lot of really cool scientific behind it that they're experimenting with. So it's been really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I am, a little familiar with the beat side of things, and, there's different, like, frequencies that you can listen to, and depending on what they are, they do different things, and so you're lying on a bed, and you're wearing headphones?
Yeah, you're wearing these nice cozy headphones. Everything is sanitized. Everything gets changed over. All new bedding. Disposable headphone covers. If you'd like to do a little eye mask, I try to make it as customized as possible. Some
Mm.
people really love the sensation of having some weight on them. That can be really comforting. Some people don't want that. Some people love the idea of having a little eye mask just to help to kind of chill you out a little bit more. Some people don't want that. So it's all customized, and you have a lot of options. But yeah, you're literally just kind of tucked in for a nice cozy nap. Just like much if you were to crawl into bed and you're just going to throw some cozy covers on you and conk out for a little bit.
Yeah, and so
Don't
tell
overthink it, Michael. Don't overthink.
I know, no, I'm like,
You're like,
I'm
"Isn't that
envisioning it
simple?"
no matter Google. Uh, so you said there's, like, different tracks and things that you can listen to. So, walk me through, like, how do you help someone decide, or how do they decide on what it is that they want going through their ears when they're laying there?
Yeah, great question. So I think that sometimes less is best. And I think sometimes we can get a little too in our heads. So I just talked to the creator, Craig of eHarmony, excuse me, InHarmony. InHarmony is the name of the company. And he was sharing the other day, well, we are getting into exploring the notion, okay, gosh, I'm walking in and I'm feeling anxious. How do I want to feel? So we could actually support kind of picking your little menu, if you will.
Yeah.
What I decided to do when I approached this with clients and the community is I didn't want to overwhelm them and I didn't want them to get too in their heads. So basically, what I did is just came up with a 22-minute track. That way, they could kind of have a taste of it. And that way, you don't feel, and of course, I say, hey, you don't have to deal with this. Like, if you're not enjoying this, get up. Like, we can be done. But it's just so they had a little bit of a sense of it, just like a taste, much like if you go in to get a massage or anything else, more is not always better, right? Especially if you just haven't done it before. And so the track I picked is very kind of chill, if you will. It's not really theatrical. It's not really intense. It's not all over the place. And it's something that you can kind of just like nap to and chill out to. So to answer your question, yeah. And that one, and there is this whole component in terms of like, gosh, I mean, there's tracks that can connect it to like be inspiring you or relaxing you or resetting your chakras if that's kind of your thing. So there is a massive deep dive of over the 300 tracks. I do have
Mhm.
the ability, if I wanted to put a menu in front of people and say, hey, gosh, I mean, I do have some clients who said, okay, I've done the beats thing. That's really cool. And now I want to do this over here. But again, I just don't want to overwhelm people, right? Because sometimes we can get too in our heads and we all want to be good students and, get our maximum time in there. And sometimes I think there's something to be said for like, you know what, kind of let me just chill out and see how I feel. So most people do, after the 22-minute track, they really have enjoyed it. And I would say the whole experience, it's good to like just set aside about 30 minutes for your first time. And then most people, what they find is they like to go a little bit longer. It's almost like having that concept of a 5-minute nap. You kind of realize maybe 20 minutes, I'm getting a little bit more of a vibe there. And we can play around with different types of tracks, having that conversation. One person said, I did not like that track. I felt like I was at the symphony and waiting for the music to start and it was never going. And it's like, cool, that's really great information. So we found her a different track and she loves it.
Mhm.
So it can be customized. But I think, again, that first time, I'm usually just having them experiment with it and then we can kind of go from there. Does that answer your
Okay.
question?
Yeah, I think so. Where that's like first time in the door, you kind of have like we'll say an out of the box solution that you're going to have them try, just so they have a frame of reference or a starting
Correct.
point, right? As
Yep.
opposed to trying to throw darts in the dark, so to speak. And
Yep.
then from there, you can work to customize it. In it is that first visit, the 22-minute track that you have people do, is it like music and like what would they be listening to, I guess?
So do you remember the Carl God, it started it's Carl S. It was a really popular cosmic documentary that was made in the 70s.
Carl Sagan?
Yes, thank you. Do you remember that? Do you remember some of the music in that?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Okay. Well, some of it kind of just sounds like cosmic-y, and it
Okay.
sounds very like so you go to a massage, you go to a spa, right? We're
Yep.
all kind of generally familiar with that music where it's not really intense, it's not really theatrical, and it's kind of just something it's kind of like background noise that you can kind of just chill out to. What happens is, in all seriousness, they've coordinated what you're listening to and the vibration of the bed. And so there's gentle vibration that goes through the bed. You're in a private space. It's very serene, calm lit environment. You're in your own
Yeah.
private room. And so what happens is, of course, I'm explaining to them, okay, this is how this is going to work. This is what you can expect. And then we get everything situated, make sure the volume, everything, the headphones, everything feels comfortable. And then I stay there for a couple of seconds because I want to make sure the volume's comfortable, the vibration's comfortable. Again, more is not always best. They recommend starting out with about 20 to 25% of the intensity of that vibration. Most people haven't done more vibration because they kind of, it kind of almost feels like a gentle massage. So you're feeling a little bit of a current running through the under, because you're laying on a bed that has the tones in it, if you will. And then the music that you're taking in, again, much like a kind of a spa experience, you're not really thinking too much of it. And I just wanted to start with something that was kind of vanilla where you're not too stimulated. But there absolutely are those tracks that can be like
Okay.
that. And I've certainly kind of played all around. And what you'll notice is the vibration will be different on some of them because, again, they are coordinated. The beats that we talked about, so you can do like a 60 beats or an 80 hertz or a 120. Those are all designed for different things. So a 60 is designed more to like kind of chill you out. So really good to do at the end of the day. Maybe an 80 we're doing earlier in the day where you kind of want some motivation. You want to wake up a little bit more, start your day. So there is intention in terms of how it's designed.
Well, that's cool. And it sounds kinda like you mentioned massage, right? It kind of sounds similar. You're in a room, you're on a bed, you're kinda laying there, you're pretty comfy. And it also sounds like it's almost kinda, like, meditative in nature because it's kinda distracting your senses a little bit and kind of, distracting your brain, so you're either feeling the vibration or you're hearing the sounds that are going in, and that's kinda taking you out of your day-to-day, brain space that we all spend too much time in.
Yeah, you got it, and it's been really cool to talk to people who we're all different walks of life, right? Like, so,
Mhm.
I think it's very common for people to say, "I have a really hard time shutting off my mind," or I've had some people come in and say, "Yeah, I'll try it, but I do not relax worth a lick, and we'll see how it is." And so even just for them to say, "Oh, that was so cool. I was able to like really shut off my mind," and that radiates throughout your day, right? There's that long, much like a nap or something that we're engaging in. There's a ripple of benefits there. So yeah, anytime that we can disengage from our mind, kind of have a rest, have an interrupt, and also be nurturing our bodies and our mind and our immune systems, great, right? So yeah, and I think that's one of the things too is that you're not. I mean, again, if you can walk in and be like, okay, I just want to chill out in this experience again, much like if we get a massage, the more present you are, the more chill out you can be, great. However, sometimes we can't just really downshift that quickly, right?
Mhm.
And we come in a little bit more flustered or we have a lot on our mind or maybe it depends on the time of day, but you're still going to notice a benefit. And I've been, of course, experimenting with like different times of day and different tracks and different duration because I want to, of course, absorb as much as possible. And I tend to be, in full transparency, a little skeptical about a lot of things. I think we should be as a consumer. So it's been really fun to be like, oh, I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised about this. And also
Yeah.
durations and also frequency, right? I mean, in a perfect world, there's some people who have purchased these for their homes and they do them every day. It's recommended if you can do it a couple times a week, great. But I have people that have been noticing a huge result, even if they're doing it like one time a week. That's where I think we also have to kind of figure out what makes sense for me and what's realistic, right? With my bandwidth and my time and my energy and the logistics and all the things.
Mhm. What now, do you couple this with other kinds of therapies? Like, do you do any light stuff as well or getting it or is it just you keep this isolated and just this by itself?
Yeah, great question. So I did just bring in the red light therapy. The In Harmony company also offers the red light therapy. And so what I decided to do was you can get one that's like a big, basically a body panel
Mhm.
and so that could, in theory, they designed it where it could be over hovering over the bed, and a mechanic that can raise up or down. I decided to do panels because I didn't want it to be, I think there's something to be said for one, feeling really safe, feeling really comfortable. Your temperature, of course, drops anytime we kind of are lying down or we check out. And I wanted to make sure people felt just really cocooned and comfortable, because that also can kind of wake us up and, take us out of the experience too, right? So what I decided to do was panels, and it's basically like a large computer screen, and so they can be moved around. And so, yeah, red light therapy, another awesome benefit. And so that can be timed. Usually it's best to do it like after the session. And we can set them at different distances. So somebody might like to sit in a chair. They're sitting in a nice heated, warm blanket, as exposed as you feel comfortable to with your skin, the more, because they can't go through clothing. So that's going to be the best. And of course, you're left in a private space. And we can set them at different distances. So you could use just your face if you wanted to. Obviously, there's benefits in doing your whole body. And then usually it's doing a max of 30 minutes. But even if someone did 15 minutes, they're still going to get benefits. Red light therapy, there's been a lot of studies also showing with sleep patterns, energy, fine lines, cell renewal, hair growth. Of course, you don't have that problem, which is great. Not a lot of men can say that.
I don't know. It's getting a little thin.
Okay, we got a game in there, Michael. And also supporting, of course, organs, muscle fatigue. I mean, there's a long list of benefits with that as
Yeah.
well. And same thing, you're not, I have some people who are like, okay, so I just want to sit back and I want to zen out and I want to put on a podcast or I want to do a meditation. Other people, they want to be checking in their email, like, maybe they want to be stretching and doing some different body work. So I wanted to create that as space where you could be sitting in a nice, cozy, warm chair, or if you want to be on the ground, you can be doing that and spread out. And then you're also on a nice, heated, warm blanket. And of course, everything's sanitized and changed over and all that too.
Yeah. What Now you mentioned that you have the vibroacoustic in a couple of locations and that you're also working on your own location.
Yes.
Where do you have the vibroacoustic stuff right now?
So there is on Maple in Saratoga, right off exit 15, which is great to get to because you don't have to deal with the downtown. You have your, easy in and out parking. And so I have access to that. It's a little bit more limited because there's more practitioners at that location,
Mhm.
but it's something that gets scheduled directly through me. And then I have a location that's right off exit 18 on Main Street, which is right, literally, it's barely even a half a mile off the exit there. And so that has a little bit more flexibility for scheduling
Okay.
because it's just with me. Yeah, and,
But
each
then
location has a different vibe, but you can do both services at each.
Okay. And so I assume it's by appointment only.
Mhm.
How do people schedule an appointment?
Just send me an email. Just reach out.
Okay. All right.
Bringing it back old school, Michael. Like,
Yeah.
more is not always better. Don't DM me. Don't text me. Don't Facebook me. Like, I mean, in all seriousness, I think that we're really thirsty for just those connections and simplicity. And so I'm really striving to just simplify things as a business owner. I don't want a huge team. I have a small team. I love my small team. More is not always better. And I also want to give individual service. And I want to make sure, with scheduling that everything is streamlined and we don't have any mistakes there. So yeah, just drop me an email. That's the best way. Inquire to moxie@gmail.com, or website, of course, findyourmoxie.net.
Okay. All right. And I'll make sure that Taylor puts that in the show notes as well. And I'm just, thinking about the conversation. I think it sounds really cool, by the way. But
Thank
I'm
you.
curious. So but you're also a stylist. Like you do a lot of things, right? So you're a stylist. You really kind of, it sounds like helping people, uh, for lack of a better term, help people get their shit together. Like helping them, helping them look good, helping them stay organized, decluttering their environment, the wellness side of things. Um, how does it? How do you like tie it all together and manage all those moving pieces?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be completely transparent with you, there was a time where I really shied away from somebody who did a couple different things. I was like, so you sell oils and you do backhoes. Like, I don't know, no judgment, but and then, I mean, I've been in business for 12 years. I've lived a little bit. I feel like I know a lot of things. I've lived a lot of life experience. I've gotten trained in a lot of different areas. Not that more is better. But it's really hard to see people challenged and struggling, and it's, my heart goes out, and that doesn't mean I'm by no means trying to be something to everybody, but to me, if some of these things come easily, and these things do, and it doesn't impose on my bandwidth and my capabilities and someone's open to it, then great. So yeah, I don't know. How do I tie it together? I actually don't know how to answer that. It just it kind of works. And so so I went through, backstory, a little bit of a side note. I went through a really challenging time with aging parents. We had a really unique situation. I definitely got maxed out and taxed and tested, as a lot of us do in that situation. By no means is that unique at all, but it really gave me an opportunity to really reevaluate what feels good, what do people need, and what makes sense, and also what's in my bandwidth. I mean, I love helping people with their image. It also takes a lot of energy, and it's very emotional, right? And I think it can be a very intimidating topic. I mean, the more that I can get in front of people, people tend to think of a stylist. They think, oh God, it's going to cost a lot of money, and that's only for the rich and famous. And she's probably going to judge me because I only shop at Target. And like I started the business because I really wanted to help the everyday person, like just really
Yeah.
trying to survive everyday life. And so to me, the more that I can put people be in front of people so that they can connect with me and realize, like, oh, actually she's kind of like, she's kind of chill, and she's kind of down to earth. And so if I can connect with them, and when they reach out and they're like, I just need you to declutter my pantry, I mean, it's intimidating to have someone in your home, right? It's really
Yeah.
personal. We're talking about image and organization, and how you roll in life, whether it's your clothing or your space, money. I mean, all the things come up. So I think that there's value in, like, of course, we do business with who we know and trust and who we feel comfortable with. And so what tends to happen, it's a very organic, where a lot of the conversations just, one thing leads to another, and there's other areas that I happen to be able to help them. By no means am I trying to come in hot and heavy, but I'm able to help people with a lot of things. And I was just, as an example, I was just talking to a client the other day, and she was asking me if I'd be willing to help her with something, and I was like, "Always ask." Like, I'm very protective of my bandwidth and what I'm able to do, fiercely, because I've done the other side of it, and I paid for it. But feel free to ask. And she said, "Well, there's something to be said for, like, knowing that you can delegate, right? In how many things can we delegate in our busy society?" So we can open up more bandwidth, so we can be more present in our relationships and do better, right? When we feel better, we do better. And so there's a lot to be tied into that. So yeah, someone can say, hey, can you edit my pantry, and can we also be doing my closet, and can you also treat my shoes, and could you help me with my house plants? Sure. Like, if it's within my skill set, I'm not going to do something I'm not qualified to do or know, right? So it kind of sounds a little silly, right? But then if we think about it, there
Not at
was a
all.
time we went to the hardware store, right? And we got a lot of stuff at the hardware store. We got fabric and dairy and grains and
Oh
a
yeah.
hammer. And so, I'm not saying I'm like the modern day hardware store, but there's something to be said for that, I think, in all seriousness, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounded to me like it all kind of was complementary to each other, and I mean, I do a lot of things. We've got essentially 4 different businesses that we're running, and they all are complementary to each other, but they're all very different things. So it was somewhat self-motivated, my question, because I want to know how you handled it.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Shoot. I can't help
so,
you out.
to
Okay.
help
I'll get
me
back to
out
you on that.
here.
I have really good people that I can rely on. That makes a big difference. And I also I try to keep it really fun, and I try to be very realistic with my bandwidth and interest. And yeah, and it kinda works, which, I'm not I don't I tend to I've always, identified with being very practical, being a massive planner, having a plan for everything. And so it's kind of interesting to be existing in a place where I'm not, like, throwing spaghetti on the wall, but I'm also kind of like, well, I'm trusting it kind of works out, because sometimes when I've gotten too nitty-gritty or tried to have too rigid of a plan, it doesn't always work out that way, and I kinda pay for it in a different way. So it is a little bit, in all seriousness, interesting to be in a space where I'm like, "You know what? I'm just gonna try this and recognize that I can edit it, because hey, we're the owners, right? We get to do that." And also trusting that, I don't necessarily have to be able to have it all completely figured out, of like, well, the idea was born in 2010, Michael, and then here we are. Like, that's very new for me. That's very, like, vulnerable for me, not to have, like, a very specific, this was the intention, this is how it happened, and here we are. So it is unique. So I can get back to you on that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And to your
And you
point, I
need
mean,
too, right?
I do. Listen, I do solid business planning every single year for my companies, and it never goes to plan. So, you gotta have that flexibility in there, I guess, but it's, yeah, it sounds fascinating. I had a question for you that popped up into my brain, and now I just lost it. Well, you said it before, but I know we're getting short on time, but if people wanna find you, they want to get your help in one of these areas, or they're interested in the vibroacoustic, which I think sounds amazing. One more time, how do they find you, Brandon?
Yeah, probably the easiest thing to do is just go to my website because I have given kind of a general overview of everything that I'm doing.
Yep.
So at least it's a really good place to land. Websites, of course, they're always in motion. Which, by the way, you and I are going to have to talk at some point. But it is something that it just gives a sense like who the heck am I? Where do I begin? So yeah, findyourmoxie.net is the website. Email is the best way to make an appointment. Obviously, I'm going to reply to you if you call me or send me a text, of course. But yeah, all socials and all those things are on there. So findyourmoxie.net. Thank you. And we're going to have to get you in there. I know you're more familiar with the red light therapy, but if I have to bring the bed to you, I mean, that can be done, Michael.
Listen, I'm willing to give everything a try. So, no, and I am familiar with some of the things that you're talking about, whether it's vibrational therapy or sound therapy and binaural beats and all that fun stuff. I think it's fascinating. So yeah, I'd love to give it a try. So I will send you an email and we will
Please send me an email. Well, now I know where I find you. You can text me. It's okay. But I'll find you. But no, and I think it's cool. That's all I'll say. It's very cool.
awesome.
He'll be like, I haven't met anyone yet who doesn't like it. Let me.
I bet.
So
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sound awful. That's for
I
sure.
think a good challenge. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been.
Oh my God, you're so
Thank you for your
welcome.
question. Of course, you can reach out.
Yes, and thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the time, and I do look forward to learning more and experiencing it firsthand. So we'll get that set up. And of course, thanks everyone for listening. And you can find us at buyinglocal.us. Of course, our podcasts are on Spotify, Apple, Rumble, YouTube, all the places. And make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things, leave us a review. We love it. So thanks everybody. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.